Ghost Recon Breakpoint from launch has been a very divisive game. The game made some questionable decisions in its design by requiring an online internet connection to play, introducing looter-shooter mechanics and customization, and making its world a lot less populated and varied in its environments when compared to its predecessor, Ghost Recon Wildlands. Sure, the game made some huge strides and improvements in graphics and animations, but some really weird and unreasonable decisions like not including AI teammates caused the game to struggle big time at launch, and it received a lot of hate, which was quite frankly well deserved. I mean, even IGN jumped in on the action, giving it a 6 out of 10. IGN, the reviewers that give every new Ubisoft release at least an 8 out of 10 plus, gave Breakpoint a 6 out of 10. Now that's how you know your game is bad. Even this loser MasterAssassin jumped on the hate train, calling the game out for all its flaws back in 2020.
It's definitely not the best open world game out there, and I wouldn't recommend getting it unless you're looking for an open world co-op to play with friends, or you don't have any other games to play right now, and this game is on sale.
Yet for some reason, Ubisoft, the company that loves money more than EA loves making bad games, actually spent a considerable amount of money to fix Ghost Recon Breakpoint. And even though the developers completely botched this game on its launch with all these issues and missing features, I will give them credit. They listened to the community, which, believe it or not, is a very rare and special thing, especially when it comes to a huge company like Ubisoft. The developers realized and accepted that Breakpoint was not at all to their vision of the game or the fans' vision, and so they made 3 priorities, which was to bring balance and polish the game, bring Breakpoint closer to what the fans expect from the franchise, and to continually add new content to the game. And now playing the game in 2021, I think they for the most part nailed all 3. The game feels a lot more polished, I very rarely encounter a bug, and nearly everything the players were asking for has been added in the updates. The immersive mode was added last year, which doesn't show all the colorful in-your-face looter-shooter HUD with gear scores and all that BS. Now it actually feels like an immersive tactical shooter experience rather than a mix of looter-shooter and tactical shooter. And probably the biggest demand from fans was the return of AI teammates, which was added in this last summer that allows you to play the game in its entirety with an AI squad. But that's not all. This last November there was another huge update for the game called the Ghost Experience Update, which made the overall game a much smoother and balanced experience. In stealth, when you're undetected, you deal more damage to NPCs and drones. The detection and communication speed was readjusted so that you no longer get insta-spotted. Enemies actually have to take a few seconds to contact other forces rather than before where it seemed like the whole base knew where you were in a matter of a half a second. The recon drones were considerably nerfed, making them slower, less erratic in their movements, and not making as much noise or attacking as quickly, which is a great change because drones were by far the most annoying enemy type to deal with in this game. And it's not like they were a fun challenge, they were just straight up overpowered. Another thing they added in this update that was requested by the community are bullet lures, which allow you to lure a single enemy away from a group to get them isolated in stealth rather than having to lure the entire group of NPCs. There's also now the option to choose whether or not healing syringes fix injuries, since many players found it unrealistic that they did. They also even added the darkest night option, which allows for a darker and more realistic night setting that is practically pitch black and actually forces you to use your thermals and night vision, which I love. And it makes the night setting feel even more immersive and realistic than before. You can also clean the dirt off your weapons now to keep them nice and shiny. And they even went as far to add world parameters so you yourself can edit the amount of drones and outposts along with Azrael plane and helicopter patrols on the map. It's clear giving you the option to create your own personal experience of this game is really what the development team was going for. And the third priority they had, new content, well, they have delivered on that too. We got the Deep State DLC with Sam Fisher at the beginning of last year, which I mean, it's Sam Fisher, so pretty awesome. And just in September, we got the Red Patriot DLC with Scott Mitchell, the Ghost Squad leader from the old Ghost Recon games. And this DLC is also great and has connections and fun references to some of the other games and the big villains like Raven's Rock. Now, the DLCs in their entirety aren't free, free, but you can play a few missions for free on it, and the DLCs are relatively cheap and go on sale often, so a pretty great deal, and there's a lot of content in them to keep the Ghost Recon experience going. And even now, Ubisoft isn't even done yet. They still have plans for another 18 months worth of updates and new content, including a new DLC this fall and a balancing and polishing update for the AI teammates by the end of spring. Oh, and did I mention the friend pass that was added last year that allows your friends to play the game with you for free as long as you own the game and they connect to your lobby? So Breakpoint is an absolutely great game to experience in co-op with your friends as well. Now obviously there's still some fundamental issues with Breakpoint, like the pretty dead world and the fact that you still need an online connection to play the game, but the game was built upon online connection, so that unfortunately will not change. But that doesn't take away from the fact that Ghost Recon Breakpoint now in 2021 is a completely different game than when it came out in 2019. It's even a lot different since I originally played in early 2020. And I do in fact believe the game is decent in 2021, especially if you have friends to play co-op with and you can utilize the friend pass. Not to mention all the new DLCs and content along with the online modes give the game tons of replayability and reason to keep coming back to it. It may not still be as good as Ghost Recon Wildlands, but Breakpoint has been able to fix its biggest flaws and make itself a respectable contender. If you guys still play Breakpoint, let me know down in the comments and how your opinion of the game has changed since its launch. And if you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate it if you consider dropping a like on the video and subscribing to the channel. It really does help me out and I would really appreciate it. And other than that, thanks for watching everybody and stay stealthy, assassins.